Rose here.
Mr. Rose, are you going to publish the story of your life?
Who is that speaking?
Listen, Rose, if you put anything in about bomb a boat, I'll blow you up myself with the biggest bomb you ever saw. Only you won't have time to see it.
Once again, I must ask. $4:00. Would you care for some tea?
No, thank you.
Coffee, perhaps?
Nothing, thank you.
Miss Lamb, I do honestly swear that I'm not going to bite you.
Are there any other questions you want to ask?
That wasn't a question.
About my speeds?
No, you're quite the fastest of all the girls I've seen.
Well?
Yes, but I should explain that my one desire is to spend the rest of my life in pursuit of idleness. And while I'm busy doing nothing, my secretary's life will be arduous, monotonous, and miserably underpaid.
Are you trying to discourage me?
Yes.
May I see my office?
The detritus of 30 years as a policeman.
Not the official files.
My own notes and reflections. You will have to bring order out of chaos. Have I discouraged you yet? Excuse me.
Mr. Rose's secretary speaking. Who is that, please? I'll see if he's in. He won't give his name.
Rose here. Oh, hello. Yes, I quite understand. Would you ask the exchange if they can trace that call?
Do you know who it was?
Someone who's going to kill me.
Yes, Miss Rieger?
Oh, I want you to get me the private address and telephone number of a Mr. Charles Rose, ex-Chief Inspector, Scotland Yard.
Yes, sir.
I have to see him urgently on behalf of the client.
Oh, which file is it for?
The file marked Mr. X.
Oh. You must be the manservant. Mr. Rose told me about you. I'm his secretary.
Aye.
Are you local?
Oh, aye.
Can I help you?
I were looking for the master to asking what time her wants her dinner.
Her?
The master.
Sam, you want a drink?
That be on now. Excuse I.
Oh, John. A scotch and soda for me, please. Miss Lamb?
Oh, is there a dry sherry?
And a dry sherry for Miss Lamb. John introduced himself. John Halifax.
Oh, aye.
John, have you been...
A sherry wine for the lady.
Thank you.
And yours was scotch and soda, sir. And I think and need scotch.
I must apologize for John.
Since he never apologizes for himself.
My cook, valet, chauffeur, guide, philosopher.
Sometimes, but not always, friend.
With an invaluable knowledge of the criminal mind.
Oh, were you in the police too?
Better than that. I was in prison.
Oh.
Not for long.
Long enough to make me unemployable.
Except by me.
And make me change my name.
John Halifax?
The novel by Mrs. Craik. John Halifax, Gentleman. Obviously untrue.
Oh, you'll see about dinner.
Splendid fellow if ever you get to know him.
Was he really in prison?
Do you mind?
Only that... I suppose he did something wrong.
Something very wrong. He got caught.
Oh.
You have a stout lock on your bedroom door, and his crime was certainly not rape. Miss Lamb, if we're to be happy together, you must brace yourself against shock.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. My name is Eager. I have to see Mr. Rose.
Do come in, sir. Mr. Rose is expecting you.
Mm-hmm.
May I take your hat? And your stick?
I haven't got a stick.
I beg your pardon, sir. I thought you were carrying a stick.
Edwin R. Eager, solicitor, Chancery Lane. And what can I do for you, Mr. Eager?
I understand you're writing your memoirs.
For hardback, paperback, with luck, serialization in one of the better class Sunday papers. With even greater luck, serialization in one of the worst class Sunday papers.
About the cases you dealt with at Scotland Yard?
Yes.
May I ask, including the case of John James Bolt?
The bomber boat case will have a chapter to itself.
Ah. I am instructed by a client of mine who must be nameless.
Excuse me. Miss Lamb, would you join us?
This is confidential.
Miss Lamb is my confidential secretary. Do sit down. Mr. Eager, I cut you off.
I am instructed by a client of mine
Who must be nameless.
to ask you to omit any account of the bomber boat case from your book.
Ah,
Would you agree?
I might.
But to include the statement that Bolt is now working under the name of John James as potman and general handyman at the Ship Inn, Havenbridge, Essex.
Is that true?
I'm assured it is true.
I'm sorry, I do tend to be rather slow-witted. No account of the case, but a statement as to where Bolt is now.
Yes.
That is what your client wants.
Yes.
How much?
Money?
Money.
£5,000.
Cash?
Cash or cheque, as you prefer.
I mean, the payment won't come to the attention of the Inland Revenue.
It need not.
You understand that it does make a difference.
I can arrange for you to be paid very privately.
In notes that cannot be traced.
Traced?
It's simply that I should take every precaution.
If you wish.
Like used pound notes.
That can be done.
Well, Mr. Eager, your client's request seems quite clear in my mind, and I must say that it sounds extraordinarily attractive. Don't you think so, Miss Lamb?
No.
My secretary went to a finishing school. I didn't. I'd rather be rich than ladylike. I shall almost certainly accept.
My client would like an answer within a reasonable space of time.
I'll be in London on Thursday. May I give it you then?
Thursday? Yes, certainly.
In the meantime, I shall do my best to corrupt Miss Lamb.
The reason is obvious. He likes money.
Does he?
He said so.
But was he telling the truth?
He said, I'd rather be rich than
Than anything.
There you are.
She disapproves.
It would be a disgraceful thing to do.
Drusilla and I are not on speaking terms.
Drusilla?
That is, I am on speaking terms, but Drusilla... Oh, John, answer that, will you? If it's a murderer, I'm not in.
Mr. Rose's residence? I'm sorry, he's not in. Would you like to leave a message?
Tell him I know what's going on. And if he says one word about where Bomber Bolt is now, I'll put a bomb up Mr. Rose's backside that will blow him into 95 million pieces.
Would you hold on a moment, please? He says... The message was...
If I breathe a word about where Bolt is, he'll put a bomb under me.
Almost his very words.
It isn't just a joke.
Drusilla, my death is no laughing matter.
So, what are you going to do?
To the pure, all things are pure.
What's that got to do with it?
To the mercenary, all acts are mercenary, and to the coward, all men are cowards.
Now, explain.
Tomorrow.
Want me to drive?
Drusilla.
Why? Where are we going?
Big reconciliation scene. On the way to Haven Bridge.
John James Bolt. Splendid war record. Major commanding one of those special service groups.
But I thought you
All
said...
kinds of raids behind enemy lines. DSO, MC, etc., etc.
But if he was a hero...
Wartime hero. Peace offered less scope for his talent, so he set up in business as a master criminal.
Oh.
Possibly the world's greatest expert in the manufacture and use of bombs, booby traps, explosives of all kinds. Hence the nickname. Oh, brilliant chap, a very bright bomber indeed.
What did he do as a criminal?
His last great act was to blow his way into the vaults of a bank and walk out with £100,000.
And you caught him?
Yes.
Do you think he's the man who's been ringing up?
If the bomber wants to kill me, I shall change my name, buy a false beard, and board the first available aircraft for Argentina. Business is slack in Havenbridge,
There's only 3 cottages.
and a disused caravan site. Don't the British like mud flats any longer?
Why should he be here? I think it's a hoax.
We shall see. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Drusilla, may I introduce
John James.
Miss Lamb?
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, what can I offer you? On the house.
A dry sherry.
I think we have one. We don't get much demand except from passing motorists. Are you passing motorists?
Does anyone pass through Havenbridge? It looks like the end of the world.
Is this an official call, then?
I'm no longer official.
I thought perhaps the Yard was still keeping an eye on me because of the money. Did he tell you about the money?
You, took £100,000.
The bank said. Can you believe a bank?
Very little of which was recovered. Some of the notes were new ones that could have been traced. They were never traced.
Just disappeared.
Were hidden.
For 10 long years. Did he mention how he caught me?
In the space of a few hours, acting with incredible speed and perspicacity.
With the help of an informer who told him where to find us.
The expression is acting on information received.
Yes. How did you know I was here?
You know the shed is not at all bad.
Of course, I shouldn't have asked. We each have a code of behavior, but it's not the same one. I don't inform on people, and I don't use informers.
And I don't reveal my sources.
Am I allowed to ask why you're here?
If you have any intention of killing me, to find that out.
Why would I do that?
Well, somebody somewhere said that if I published a word about Bomber Bolt, they'd blow me into little pieces.
It doesn't sound like me.
Who does it sound like?
Well, you know me. If I decide to kill you, I won't tell you beforehand. I just do it.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Drusilla.
What? Oh, cheers.
Ah, Mr. Rose, come in. Come in. Do sit down.
Thank you.
Well, how are you?
Never better in my life.
And may I hope you've come to a decision?
The answer is yes.
Yes?
The answer to your question is yes, you may hope. I have.
Ah.
The answer to your client's request is no.
No.
Yes, the answer's no.
You've given it full consideration.
And I'm sorry to be such a disappointment.
That can't be helped.
You see, Mr. Eager, though I'm mercenary in the extreme, I'm also a coward.
Oh.
It was a struggle between contrary impulses, and I'm afraid cowardice triumphed.
I don't follow.
I have been threatened, if I accept your offer,
With what?
with death.
By whom?
The voice, like your client, is nameless.
So you can't accept.
I daren't.
In that case, I wonder if you'd mind writing me a letter.
To show your client?
To put on my file as an end to the affair.
Certainly.
We could do it now, if you like, and save you the trouble. And, of course, I'll be glad to reimburse you for any expenses in coming to London.
No. I had old friends to see. Old colleagues.
Oh, Miss Dean, would you do a letter for Mr. Rose's signature?
Yes, sir.
Plain paper, his address at the top, today's date, myself as addressee, dear Mr. Eager. Oh, something very short and simple.
Would you care to word the letter yourself?
I have considered the offer of £5,000 which you made to me in regard to the case of John James Bolt, and cannot possibly accept it. Yours truly, Charles Rose. Would that be all right?
That'd be perfect.
Where the devil could they be? You don't think they could have had an accident, do you? No, of course they couldn't. No, that's too absurd. Look, isn't there somewhere where you could ring up?
They said they'd be back by 6.
Well, look at the time now.
Nigel, relax and enjoy yourself, like me.
Now, look, you know you have to leave at any moment. If you don't see him now...
I won't write my story tomorrow morning.
Well, so it won't be in this Sunday's paper.
Well, does it matter?
Well, it's the start of the build-up.
You're his publisher, not me.
Yes, but your paper's the one that's going to... What's that?
It's them.
Thank heavens for that. Hello, where have you been?
Hello, Chancery Lane. Hello, Scotland Yard. Hello, the War Office.
The War Office?
He has friends in the oddest places.
Look, I've brought Derek Pendrell down. He's Creevy of the Sunday World.
The gossip column.
Yes, but don't call it that. Now, look, he wants to do a piece for Sunday about the book.
How nice, but why?
Because the Sunday World has bought it.
Do they know I haven't written it yet? Good evening, Drusilla. Good evening. I'm so sorry I'm late.
Derek Pendrell, Charles Rose.
How do you do?
Do sit down. Thank you.
I've got the contract here. You can look at that later. Oh, and a letter that came for you, care of the
I
office.
think I'd better just have a look, just in case.
Now, Derek simply wants something interesting about what'll be in the book.
An anecdote, or something I can hang an anecdote on. You know, a famous case, a famous criminal.
How you solved a well-known mystery, perhaps?
Some truth you're able to reveal at last.
And it will appear in print on Sunday.
Yes.
As the start of the build-up, you see.
John, I think I know the kind of thing you want. Give that to Drusilla for filing. You might say that my book will tell the full story of Bomber Bolt, wartime hero turned bank robber.
Yes, that's the kind of thing.
I fancy it might interest your readers to know that Bomber Bolt is working under the name of John James as potman and general handyman at the Ship Inn, Havenbridge, Essex.
I couldn't sleep.
I hadn't even started trying. Caught in the act. Compulsive eater. Compensation for something, I suppose.
I was coming down for a glass of milk myself.
Share my neurosis. You have the milk. I'll have the sandwich.
Don't you want it?
Leave me half an inch at the bottom. May I offer you a seat?
Thank you. I've been lying awake, wondering...
Why he's doing something that'll get Bolt thrown out of his job. Forced to leave the district.
It's disgraceful when a man's been in prison for 10 years.
But why is Bolt in the job? Why is he in the district? If you had 100,000 nicker hidden away, Would you go and be a potman on a mud flat in darkest Essex?
I still think it's wrong to say where he is.
Yes. You were at your most frigid all evening.
I've had enough.
Or leave a kiss within the cup, and I'll not ask for milk.
Good night.
I apologize, Frigid. I should have said icy. Don't you want to hear my explanation?
You mean you know?
Someone's playing a very strange game. We don't even know what the game is. So we make an unexpected move, so they have to make a move they didn't expect.
But we've done what Eager's client wanted us to do.
Have we?
Well, partly.
Eager dictates a letter. I cannot agree to your request, Charles Rose. It could be any request.
But it...
Ah.
Oh.
What I'd like to be is a fly on Eager's wall when he meets his client.
No one saw you come in?
No.
I'll have those keys back.
I'll keep them for next time. I rather enjoy our midnight meetings.
I don't think we'll be having any more of them.
Surely that depends on Mr. Rose. That's it then. He won't.
Not a hope.
Go back to him.
Useless. I've already talked to Mr.
And
Rose.
offer him 10,000.
You're mad.
On this point, yes. I think I am.
And as if that's not enough, what would you like for lunch?
Something cold you could leave on a plate.
Oh, am I sacked?
In the course of your professional career,
You mean my life of crime?
did you ever come into contact with a bomber?
I regret to say.
Frank Willis, Bert Archer.
We moved in a different class of jail.
Good morning. Good morning, Drusilla.
Good morning.
Before you gorge yourself on orange juice and bash your muesli, would you mind making me out a cheque for £35, payable to that dreadful garage down the road?
Yes, of course.
They are offering for sale one of the oldest Morrises I've ever seen, but I'm told it goes.
And I'm going with it.
I think you need a rest in a quiet little pub far from the madding crowd. Now, what's today? Friday. Stay over Saturday, Sunday.
When they read the Sunday papers.
Yes, Mr. Eager?
Get me Mr. Charles Rose, will you?
There. I've signed it. Would you like the pen as a souvenir?
It happens to be mine already.
Oh, your pen. My contract. Send it straight back to Nigel Chinnery while the signing mood is still on me. Probably the butcher. Nothing today, thank you.
Mr. Rose's secretary? Oh, would you hold on a moment, please? Mr. Eager.
Hello, Rose here.
Oh, hello, Mr. Rose. I've informed my client of your decision. Naturally, he's disappointed, but I've assured him that your mind is made up and that there's nothing to be done. However, he has asked me if I'll come back to you once again to inquire whether you might possibly reconsider if he increased his offer. Now, I have told him, in fact, that you were adamant.
Mr. Eager, if I may interrupt, how far is your client willing to go? I mean, if 5,000 is just for openers, what is top whack?
10,000.
Oh, well, that puts a new complexion on the whole thing, doesn't it? I mean, for 10,000 tax-free, I might even overcome my ridiculous fear of death. You see, the balance of contrary impulses seems to be slipping over to the other side. Mr. Eager, I'll give you my answer first thing Monday morning. Bye.
$10,000?
I made a mistake 10 years ago.
As recently as that?
No, it must have been 20 years ago since I made a mistake. This was an oversight, which is worse.
Are you telling me why they're offering you $10,000?
I am confessing a sin of omission. Bolt's partners in crime were Frank Willis and Bert Odgers, two of his brightest sergeants in the army. I should have checked right through the list of that unit with my friends at the War Office. I failed to do so till yesterday.
And what did you find?
A staff sergeant who stayed at base to look after supplies, stores, administration, and his name was Edwin R. Eager.
Oh.
I shall send no more, but check everything. Would you get me the Registrar General's office, please? I have friends there.
Do you have friends everywhere?
In the sense of contacts.
And what did they know that you don't know?
Bolt had a wife. Good-looking, dark girl. Ex-actress. I seem to remember that after the trial, she reverted to her maiden name.
Mrs. Pryor. And don't ask about Mr. Pryor. I haven't seen him for years, and I don't want to. Well, what do you think? Will it do?
It'll do, Grandma.
I'm sorry it's so small, but we've only got the 2 rooms for visitors, and the big one's been booked by 2 gentlemen from London.
Oh.
They said in their letter they didn't mind sharing if necessary. So it'll have to be necessary.
Ah, it'll have to be.
Where's that book for you to sign in? You know, I should feel quite full up this weekend.
Aren't you usually?
I wish I was. It is. Ah. How many nights do you want to stay? Friday, Saturday?
Oh, and Sunday.
Oh, I'm afraid that's a bit of a problem.
Oh, really?
Well, you see, I've sort of half promised your room for Sunday night.
Well, if it's only half.
It's not a visitor, it's a gentleman who may be coming to see me on business.
Ah, well, if it's only maybe.
Yeah, it's not absolutely confirmed yet, but... Well, if it is, you...
Oh.
You see, he's my solicitor. We're not open. Oh, maybe then. Didn't expect them so soon.
We on in? Yes, we got here earlier than we expected.
You're the 2 gentlemen who booked a room.
Yeah, that's right.
This is my other weekend visitor.
Afternoon.
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 And you will be Mr...
Brown.
Jones.
Robinson.
But we haven't done a stroke of work all day.
Several strokes. Master strokes.
I mean on the book.
We have written a splendid new chapter leading up to a stirring climax.
What climax?
Well, let's drink to us, whatever it may be.
I want to speak to Mr. Rose. Never mind that, you put him on.
It's him.
Hello.
Rose, listen, I want to talk to you. I'm in the call box outside the post office in your village.
Why don't you come over here and have a drink? I've just opened a bottle of champagne.
You want to see me, you come to me. There's a pub just across the road. I'll be in there. You don't come, I'm not staying, right?
If I do come, how shall I recognize you?
Don't you worry about that. I know what you look like.
Here you are, Mr. Brown. 3 large scotch.
And something for yourself.
No, thank you, Mr. Robinson, not just at this moment.
Let's all be clear.
Oh, some locals want me in the bar.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Nice in here.
Yes.
You, come here often?
First time.
Heard about it from a friend.
Me too. Same friend, perhaps.
Who was yours?
Only came in for cigarettes. You gentlemen got all you want?
I'm sorry we're working you so hard.
Good heavens, I don't mind. You can drink here all night if you like. Your residence. Of course, I usually have a man to help me, but he's off today. He'll be back tomorrow morning.
A local.
Oh, no. Oh, no, quite a gentleman. Hasn't been here long. 10 years sheep farming in Australia.
Oh, now we have something in common.
Oh, yes?
I spent a bit of time in Australia myself.
You're late.
Sorry.
What are you doing there?
Well, haven't you come to take them?
Not yet.
I thought you were going away.
It's been there 10 years. You can keep it there a few days longer. What did Rose say?
He won't.
Got another letter?
Look, I'll have his final answer on Monday, but he definitely won't.
I want it before Monday. I want it Sunday night at the pub after closing time. And I want it from Rose in person.
Bomber, what's the use?
Ring him now.
It's midnight.
And say, my client wants to meet you Sunday night. I'll pick you up in my car. And say it while I'm listening.
Bomber!
And call me sir when you speak to me.
On Ilkley Moor Battat.
Is that you, Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Was your breakfast all right?
Oh, grand, yes.
I'm afraid I've got rather a disappointment for you.
What way?
I've heard from my solicitor. He is coming down on Sunday.
Oh, hey, you wouldn't have a corner you could put
But
me in, would
before
you?
you go any further, I want to ask you something.
Hi.
Is your name really Halifax?
Is what?
Because if it is, you may not even want to stay here tonight. Of course, I won't charge you for the room, even though you did book it.
Telegram?
Yes.
For Halifax?
Yes.
That's me.
Yes, I thought it must be. Of course, I couldn't be sure, so I took the liberty of reading it. And then I understood everything. You're turning up out of the blue like that, calling yourself by another name. Violet's your wife, isn't she?
Yes.
And deep down in your heart, you love her.
I love her slightly more than I hate her. What happened?
A bomb.
You're not damaged, Violet?
I was out on a fool's errand. It was Drusilla who opened the door.
Drusilla?
I'm afraid so, poor girl.
Well, is she hurt? Where is she?
In her room. Give me time to explain that Drusilla was shielded by that stout oak door and suffered nothing but shock. I gave her permission to spend the morning in bed. Is she up yet?
She's getting up.
I was not angry since I came to France until this instant.
It might have killed her.
If I had come back and opened that door from the outside, as I was meant to, it would most certainly have killed me. However, I'm almost glad that it happened. It's made my mind up for me.
Why did you bring me back?
Oh, what's your name, Halifax?
Robinson. I told you before I went.
I worked it out that if you were a runaway husband, you'd hardly be using your real name.
Thanks for the mental exercise. What about the Sunday World?
At enormous trouble and expense, I have persuaded the editor of the Sunday World to cut out the paragraph about Bomber Bolt.
So nothing will happen on Sunday morning.
Everything will happen on Sunday night. I want their plans for Sunday night to go forward without a hitch.
Oh.
Except, of course, for the hitch that I shall provide myself.
I apologize for the door, sir. The mice here are becoming really outrageous. May I take your hat?
I haven't got a hat.
I'm sorry, sir. I'd have thought you needed a hat.
Kind of you to come so far out of your way to pick me up.
Not at all. Thank you.
And now, since we are about to meet him, you can at last tell me the name of your nameless client.
Bomber Bolt.
Of course. Have you seen my front door?
I was afraid something like that might happen.
You met my secretary?
Yes.
Dead.
What? Oh, Mr. Rose, I don't want to dissuade
You can give your client my respects, give him my fear, if you like. Tell him I don't know how far apart we are at the moment, but I wouldn't dream of coming within 100 miles of him. And I hope that he will keep at least that distance from me. And now let me speed you on your way, whether or not you have finished your drink. John?
Yes, sir?
Mr. Eager is leaving. Would you be so good as to show him out?
Certainly, sir.
Well, good night, Mr. Rose. I'm sure you're
Good
absolutely
night.
right.
That rattled him. Good. Car ready?
Yes.
Tools ready?
Always.
Drusilla! Don't wait up for us. Not even if we never come back.
Hello?
Hello, Bomber.
Where's Rose?
I'll tell you.
Haven't you brought him?
Look, I'll tell you in a minute.
Come into the back room. Meet a couple of friends.
Friends?
Sort of regimental reunion.
Not so fast. I want to give the bomber a fair chance.
To do what?
The bomber is an honest, upright criminal. He has no quarrel with the police. But he has a big quarrel with the person who put him and his friends in jail for 10 years.
Not you?
Not me. The informer.
And only you and the informer himself know who the informer is. And he's certainly not going to tell. And you never reveal your sources.
Not even for £10,000.
Look, I put it to him the first time for 5,000. He refused. I put it to him a second time for 10,000, and he said he'd think it over. But honestly, Bomber, I've told you, it's no use. He's not going to do it.
He's not going to do what?
What?
What was the offer for?
You know as well as I do.
I want to hear you say it.
For publishing the name of the informer who got you three put in jail. But he still behaves as if he were at the yard. He won't tell.
And you're sure that's what you asked?
Oh, what do you mean? Of course I'm sure. What would I have asked him?
Something else? Anything else? Anything that would get the answer no?
Well, why on earth would I do that?
Well, the only possible reason would be that you didn't want him to name the informer.
Bomber, you don't think... You can't think that
I don't have to think. It's obvious. I mean, it's obvious. That would be the only possible reason, isn't it?
Bomber, boys! Look, you don't honestly believe...
We're trying to find out who informed on us, right?
Yes, I know.
If it was you, you'd have asked Rose something quite different. And you'd have done everything you could to make damn sure his answer was no, so you could tell me the answer was no, right?
Yes.
Now, the question is, what, in fact, did you ask him?
Look, Bomber, I've stood by you, haven't I? You gave me the money. I've looked after it for you.
You had the free use of it for 10 years.
I've given it you back.
I'm not interested in the money. I'm just interested in one thing. Was it you?
No. No, Bomber, no, it wasn't me, I swear
Come
it.
in. We didn't bother to knock, but John Halifax is so good at making entrances. Good evening, Bomber.
Good evening, Charles.
I take it the business in hand is to discover whether this man was the informer.
Yes.
May I give my evidence?
Yes.
Don't listen. 10 years ago, a man rang me at the yard saying his name was Edwin R. Eager, solicitor of Chancery Lane.
Lying.
Information about the bank robbery.
No, it's all lies.
I identify that voice on the telephone as the voice of this man.
Liar!
It wasn't you I spoke to! You're quite right. It was my sergeant. You didn't give your name. I didn't know you were the informer till this moment. I never reveal my sources, but I do frequently tell lies in order to make others tell the truth.
Claire,
Coming.
ready packed?
Yes, I'm ready. Good evening, Mr. Rose.
Good evening, Mrs. Bolt.
Good evening, Mr. Halifax. How's Violet?
What are you going to do?
We're leaving. You're staying.
What?
And half an hour after we leave, the biggest bomb I ever made is going to blow this house into tiny fragments. So small, they won't even know you were here.
No, you wouldn't.
It'll be just like in the good old days. On all those raids you never came on.
Mr. Rose, you won't
Mr. Eager, you planted a bomb at my front door. I shall be happy to have you dead.
Bomb.
There's just one thing you can do if you want to stay alive. I've never informed on anybody. But you can confess yourself. You know the number.
I want London, Whitehall, 1212.
Sunday night, try Inspector Dolby or Sergeant Matheson.
Oh, Scotland Yard. Inspector Dolby, please, or Sergeant Matheson.
Give them your name and address.
This is Edwin R. Eager, 2 Pettit's Court, Chancery Lane.
Now tell them.
I want to...
Confess.
I want to confess to being implicated in a bank robbery 10 years ago.
And receive it.
And to receiving the proceeds of the robbery.
Now tell them how they can prove it.
In the safe, in my office, £20,000 in new notes. Well, new then. The bank has the numbers. They can be traced.
Mercenary, or he'd have burnt the notes long ago. A coward, or he'd have taken the risk of passing them on.
What about the rest of the money?
Well, I imagine Mr. Eager will be telling all to Inspector Dolby. But the bomber wasn't interested in the money, only in the morality.
Like you.
Bomber has his code. I have mine.
Eager had none.
Mercenary, so he was afraid that I might say yes. A coward, so he thought he could frighten me into saying no.
Little realizing.
That if he'd offered me £10,000 to reveal the name of the informer, I should have refused point blank.
Because you didn't know.
Even if I had known.
I think it took an attempt on your life to make you moral.
Oh, I've no objection to attempts on my life. There's only one thing that is strictly forbidden.
What's up?
He pinched me.
Did he now?
Just making my point. No one but me is allowed to shock my secretary.